Hey man, there's a kind of power that doesn't speak, doesn't move fast, doesn't need to chase, and yet it pulls her in like gravity. It's not loud, it's not needy, it's not desperate, it's silent tension. And once you learn how to create it, you'll realize that you don't need to say much, do much, or even move much, because now your energy does the work for you. And the reason it works is simple. Most women are used to being pursued with words, compliments, and effort. But when you offer presence without pressure, attention without attachment, and stillness without seeking, that tension becomes addictive. She leans in not because you asked her to, but because she feels something she can't explain. The first step to building silent tension is understanding that you don't chase it, you hold it. Most guys feel uncomfortable in silence. They rush to fill the gaps. They ask questions too quickly. They overshare just to keep momentum alive. But here's the truth. When you allow silence to breathe, and you own that space with calm energy, you're saying one thing: I'm in no rush, and I'm not trying to prove anything. That lack of urgency disarms her. It makes her curious, because now she's not just listening to what you say, she's tuning into what you're not saying. Silent tension lives in your eyes, the way you look at her when she talks, the way you hold eye contact, not aggressively, but intentionally. You don't look away quickly, you don't blink too much. You're calm, still, focused. Your eyes say, I see you. And even more than that, they say, I don't need anything from you to keep seeing you. That calm stare doesn't demand, it invites, it creates a charge. She starts to feel like she's being examined without being judged. And that feeling, it opens her without a single word. It's also in your body language. You don't lean forward too quickly. You don't fidget. You don't try to match her emotional pace. You sit back, relaxed, grounded, like you've got nowhere to be. Like you've had this conversation 1,000 times, and yet you're still fully present. That composure is rare. And because it's rare, it's attractive. Women are constantly reading your body for emotional cues. If your body is relaxed while she's testing or performing, that creates tension. She's trying to elicit a response, and you're not giving it. That restraint becomes power, because now she's feeling more than you're revealing. Silent tension is not about being cold, it's about being undisturbed. It's about letting her bring her emotions to you without you scrambling to match them. You smile when you feel like it, not when she expects it. You speak when you're ready, not when there's pressure to perform. You laugh not to win her, but because you're genuinely amused. That level of centeredness makes her feel something she rarely feels around men, inspired to earn your reactions. That's when she starts doing more, opening more, trying more. Not because you asked, but because you held the tension instead of folding under it. You don't need to say something clever every minute. In fact, the more she talks, the more you let her talk. The more she shares, the more you let it land in silence. You don't rush to give advice. You don't interrupt with your own stories. You just listen deeply and breathe slowly. And when the silence hits after something meaningful, you let it sit. That moment of stillness after her vulnerability, that's where she feels you. Not because you said something perfect, but because you didn't try to fix her with words. Tension also builds when your responses are slower than expected. She says something playful or teasing, and instead of reacting right away, you pause. You smile slightly, tilt your head. Maybe you just say, interesting, nothing more. That pause creates space. And in that space, she leans in. She starts wondering what you're thinking. She starts filling the gap with her own interpretations. And now, she's engaged. Not because you gave her clarity, but because you gave her emotional contrast. Another layer of silent tension is unpredictability. Not in a chaotic or manipulative way, but in a self-contained way. You don't always text back instantly. You don't say me too just to create connection. You don't agree with everything. You're warm but not always reachable. That quiet inconsistency forces her to earn consistency from you. And when she starts feeling that slight gap, that small distance that she didn't expect, it creates mystery. That mystery is the soil where tension grows roots. And once it's there, she starts chasing without even realizing it. Your voice matters too. Tension isn't loud. It's low, slow, and intentional. You don't rush your words. You let them land. You speak with pauses between thoughts. And the slower you speak, the faster she listens. Because now your voice feels like space, not noise. She leans into your cadence, not your cleverness. And in that slower rhythm, she stops analyzing and starts feeling. That's when conversations become electric, not because of what you said, but because of how present you were while saying it. Silent tension builds best when you stop trying to entertain her and start making her feel seen without needing to be praised. You compliment with your eyes, not your words. You validate her energy, not her appearance. You sit in the moment with nothing to prove. And that stillness triggers her feminine instinct to perform. She starts leaning forward, she plays with her hair, she adjusts her posture, she asks more questions, because now you've become the mirror she wants to be reflected in. Not because you're chasing her, but because you're holding yourself like a man who's already chosen. The real power behind silent tension is that it invites her curiosity to lead the emotional interaction. Most men try to lead with pressure, pressing for connection, forcing the mood, pushing for deeper conversation. But you're the opposite. You lead with stillness, with measured energy. You let her fill the gaps. You don't tell her what to feel. You let her feel it on her own timeline. That psychological invitation, wrapped in emotional discipline, creates a kind of chemistry that no flashy pickup line ever could. It says, "You're welcome to come closer, but you'll have to want it enough to cross the gap yourself." And once she starts stepping in, once she starts offering more of herself without being asked, you don't over-celebrate, you let her open. You let her talk, you let her express, and when she does, you hold it like a man who's seen this before, not jaded, just steady. That steadiness is everything, because now, she realizes you're not like the other men who would have jumped all over her story, tried to rescue her emotions, or used her openness as leverage. You just hold space, and the longer you hold it without reaction, the deeper her trust builds. That's how you become unforgettable, not with volume, but with presence. Silent tension also lives in your unpredictability, not in your behavior, but in your emotional range. One moment, you're warm and relaxed. The next, you're focused and silent. One day, you're teasing and light. The next, you're deep and introspective. You don't change for her. You reveal yourself in layers. And those layers don't come all at once. They come when you decide to reveal them. That staggered expression of your inner world makes her feel like there's always more to explore. That ongoing exploration is what creates emotional tension that doesn't fade. It intensifies over time. Even in physical moments, you don't rush. When you touch her hand, you let it linger. When you hug her, you hold her just a second longer than expected. When you lock eyes, you stay there until she looks away first. You're not doing these things to dominate. You're doing them to establish the rhythm. And your rhythm is slower, heavier, intimate. That physical restraint is louder than any romantic gesture. It tells her, I'm fully here, but I'm not chasing connection, I'm inviting it on my terms. And when she feels that, she begins to melt without understanding why. This kind of tension also forces her to engage emotionally. She starts wondering what you're thinking. She studies your reactions, she reads between the lines, and the more she analyzes you, the more invested she becomes. Because now you flip the script. You're no longer the one seeking closeness. You're the one watching how she navigates your presence. And that shift, that reorientation of emotional roles, creates an inner pull she can't rationalize. Because now, she's not just reacting to you, she's trying to unlock you. You create this energy by slowing everything down. Your speech, your movements, your tone, your decisions. Because speed is the language of fear, but slowness is the language of power. You don't rush to validate her. You don't panic if she's quiet. You don't scramble to fill the air. You just let time work in your favor. You understand that real connection isn't built in fast bursts. It's built in slow waves, and those waves are created by tension that builds, waits, and never fully resolves. Because the moment you resolve all tension, you kill the mystery. And without mystery, attraction fades. This is why being nice often fails, not because kindness is unattractive, but because predictability is. When she knows exactly what you'll say, how you'll react, what your next text will be, you lose tension. But when you're calm, slightly elusive, emotionally composed, and fully present, she stays engaged, not because she has all the answers, but because she wants them more than you want to give them. And that dynamic, that's what keeps her up at night, wondering why you feel so different. And here's the deeper truth. Silent tension isn't something you do, it's something you become. It's who you are when you've detached from needing approval, when your inner world is full enough that you don't need her to complete it, when you're not reactive to energy, you respond with choice. And from that place of masculine sovereignty, everything you say, every glance you give, every pause you hold, builds the kind of emotional pull that can't be replicated by words or effort. It's felt, it's remembered, it's missed when it's gone. Eventually she won't say, "You were the funniest guy," or "You said the sweetest things." She'll say something much more powerful. She'll say, "There was just something about the way you made me feel." That feeling, that low burning intensity, that inner storm wrapped in calm energy, that's the tension you've been crafting. And it's what makes you different, not because you tried harder, but because you stayed still while everyone else fumbled to prove their worth. You made her feel something without needing anything in return. So remember this, man. You don't create silent tension by withholding affection. You create it by holding your frame. You don't build it by being cold. You build it by being deliberately warm but self-contained. You don't chase chemistry, you invite curiosity. And you do it all while staying so deeply rooted in your own emotional rhythm that she feels the shift in her own. That shift, that change in her breathing, her posture, her attention, that's the tension working. And once she feels it, she doesn't forget it.